In this video, I'm going to give you an insider tour on how we design high converting e-commerce emails using Figma. I'm Pacific. I own Rude Marketers, a marketing agency that focuses exclusively on doing email marketing for direct-to-consumer e-com brands. Over the years, we've had the pleasure of working with Fortune 500 companies who are doing well over the $100 million plus range. And because of that, we've been able to learn, test, and reiterate on this process of creating emails that sell. The purpose of this video is to show you that exact process so that you can replicate it for your own brand. Here are some of the many email examples that we've made using this process. And to help you do the same, this video is a 3-in-1 special. I'm going to show you step-by-step how to make these emails inside of Figma with a live tutorial. I'm also going to share my exact thought process when designing these emails to maximize for conversions. And as a bonus, I'm also going to show you how to upload this email into Klaviyo and optimize it for deliverability. Let's jump into it. So here we are inside of Figma. As you can see, I've already done user service and set some things up for you today. Basically, first things first, I just want to show you around the area. In this middle section right here, you're going to have your workspace. This is where the magic happens. This is going to be where you're creating your emails. At the bottom right here, you're going to see a little toolbar. You got some features right here. You can add shapes, draw out the shapes. You can add text, leave comments, etc. Basically, anytime you add something onto your workspace is going to show up on the right hand side right here as what we call a layer. So example, let's add a rectangle. Bam, added a rectangle. Now it show up as a layer. You can organize your layers by grouping multiple layers together, as well as by renaming it, by double clicking it and renaming it whatever you want. So subscribe, there you go. And to edit it, you click on the specific layer you want to edit, and this right side editing column is going to show up. There are multiple things that you could do. Change the colors, change the opacity, you can change the corner radius, bam. You can also change the width, change the sizing that way. Basically, I understand that all of these things might look overwhelming to you at first, especially if you've never actually used Figma, but I promise you that when you're actually watching me design the emails live, you're gonna see exactly how we're designing the emails, what features and editing tools that we're actually using, how we're using it, when we're using it, and why we're using it, and everything is gonna make sense for you, and the process is actually quite simple. And so it's my job to simplify everything for you. And so in order to do that, I would like you to adopt this mindset of what actually goes into making an email. I've discovered that the fastest and easiest way to actually create high converting emails is to see every single email as different content blocks, boop, 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 put together, kind of like making a sandwich. The top will always be the hero block, and the bottom will always be the footer block. And whatever you put in the middle, that depends on whatever email you want to create. You can have a benefit section or a benefit block in which you're highlighting benefits. You can display your products. You can have testimonials, or you can also have a message block. And all of these blocks will determine whatever email you want to actually create. If you want to know where this is from a more comprehensive guide on how to actually design high converting emails for e-commerce brands. This is just a page in a very big guide, which is completely free, and link is in the description. And so let's get to making our email. This is written out in Google Docs actually, so you can create a table and then write out your copy. And basically by writing out your copy and organizing it in terms of what we call a wireframe, this helps the designer know how to actually approach designing this email. And it also helps the copywriter know what to expect when the email's actually done. And so it's a win-win on the designing team as well as the copy team, because expectations are matched for the copy and the designers get some help in terms of how to actually approach creating this email. By doing that, it's a little better. And so this is a email which is combining a benefit block as well as a product block for a brand called Cadence. They're a supplement brand. They're pretty cool. They sell mostly electrolytes, but they have this angle where it's made by science and it's evidence-based electrolyte formula. And so that's going to be what we're rolling it with in the copy. So made with science, loved by athletes, your entire hydration system in a can. And then this is our hero block. And then we move on to the benefit block. One drink, multiple benefits, and then we list out the benefits here. Maybe we can add some photos within these benefits, kind of make it come to life more. Scientific formula for hydration, trusted by athletes worldwide, accelerate muscle recovery, enhance cognitive function. And then lastly, we have our product display block. Find your perfect hydration formula. Core 500, a science-backed ratio to keep you at your best. Race 500, made to optimize physical and cognitive performance. recovery sleep, tap into the power of deep sleep and speed up your recovery. And then we have our footer block. We're going to turn this copy into a beautiful email in which not only looks good, but is conversion optimized and is also on brand for this brand, because that's the job of the designer. And so we got the copy right here. Let's create the emails. What I found to be really useful, and every brand should do this because time is money, is to create what I call design assets. And this can come in the form of templates that you create. And so you should have a design template for each block. Each of these block, hero block, footer block, benefit, product, testimonial, message block, you should create design assets in the form of templates for each block. So hero block, we have these different templates right here. Benefit block, we have these other templates right here. And product block, we got these benefits. These templates help you design faster, and the quality is up there as well. For example, this copy right here, made with science, loved by athletes, your entire hydration system in a can, shop now. We got a hero image. The angle I want to go with is probably this one right here. I think it fits the brand more. This one, not too bad as well, but I like to keep my CTA button a little higher just to make sure that the people on mobile doesn't need to scroll to actually click the button, and that's actually going to increase your click rate. And so we're going to make a copy out of this template right here and drag it down. Bam. We're always going to start with the logo section. Let's create a frame. And so I'm going to click here. You can create a frame. You could also click F. I'm just going to create a frame right here. Make this transparent. And I always design my emails with 600 width. Okay, 600. So right here, you're going to make it 600. I would stick around 600 to 1,000. I wouldn't do any more or less than that. But basically, I'll do it 600 right now. And we're going to create our logo block. So after I've created my frame, I'm going to add a rectangle right here. And I'm going to make this rectangle about 85. And the brand is mostly black and white minimalistic theme. And so I'm going to keep this black, and we're going to drag their logo right here, copy and paste that into this frame as well. Make sure it's aligned. And I think that looks good. But now remember what I said about organizing our layers right here. We got logo, block, background. And then over here, we have the actual logo, and then we can group this together. Click group, and now we got our logo block. So, ta-da, that is one block done, but kind of still far away from this email. And so before we start, I'm actually going to go stalk their websites and social media, and I'm going to come back with a hero image in which we're going to use for this email. And we got our hero image right here. I was debating on whether I should pick a product image or an image of one of their athletes, but I chose to go with the athletes because their brand has a big sense of community. And so that's exactly what we're going to lean into. We're going to make sure that it is 600, and then we're going to drag it into our frame. And as you can see, we need to have our headline, subheadline, and CTA button on top of this. And I don't think this is enough space. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a rectangle right here. Make sure that aligns. And we're going to click this button right here and go to this dropper tool. And we're going to pick the color of this image and hope it blends. And it does blend, but if you can look here on the side, it's not blending. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to blend this with a gradient. I'm going to copy this and paste it here to align with the first rectangle. And just so that you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to drag this image down. Basically, this is going to be our gradient. It's just going to help transition from this solid color to this image a little better. You're going to click here, which is your gradient, and then you're going to flip it so it's the solid color and the bottom color over here. And you're going to make sure both of these colors are the same color. Make that 0, so now it's transparent. And you're going to drag this image back up so it can blend perfectly. That problem that we had is pretty much gone. Bam. So it blends pretty well. Now we can move on to writing the copy. Click this text box down here. And we're going to write the headline. Bring that there. Usually my headlines are 48, so this is perfect already. And then copy that. Write the sub headline. Your entire... Oops. So what's happening right now is I don't actually want this E to be capitalized, but it's just capitalizing it for me. So when you face this problem, what you can do is you can click on this and you're going to go right here to typography and click this setting option right here, type settings. And you're going to be able to see case right here and you can adjust it to however. So this just means as typed. It's fixed it automatically. Let's make that 24 and that's it. Create a duplicate version of that, which says shop now for our CTA button. Add a rectangle. Let's make that black. Don't know why I made it white. So we're going to make that black and things are coming together. Now we just have to rearrange this, change the font, change this a little bit. After I do that, you're going to see what it looks like. So that's pretty much organized. All I'm going to do is change these layers to actually match. So this would be headline. This would be sub headline. Rectangle would be CTA background. And then this would be shop now. That's fine. We're going to select these two items and we're going to group them together and call it CTA button. And then this is a rectangle. This is our gradient actually. So we're going to call it hero gradient. And this is going to be hero background. And this is our image, hero image. Bam. This is what it kind of looks like as we're putting everything together. I think it looks nice. Let's just bold that. Now we got something like this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to select everything here. If you want to select multiple things, let's say like I want to select this to up here, you can click this, click shift on your keyboard and just click it and it'll select every single thing here. And then you can right click and press group selection. And now you got a bigger group, so you got groups in groups. And then we're going to call this hero block. Bam. That's our hero block done. Let's create our benefit highlight block. One drink, multiple benefits. I think I'm going to look for an image over here. And basically, we're going to have the headline, an image, and then maybe some sort of infographic that communicates our copy a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for some graphic in which I might possibly be able to use and come back with that image right now. So here we are with a really cool image. Over here, we're already highlighting their sense of community. So let's bring it back to the product. And since we're also talking about the benefits, it makes sense to actually show the product, make a copy and bring it into the email. I've also made some edits. I've just made this bold, kind of organized the spacing to make sure they're even. If you want to know if it's straight or not, go up here to alignment and just click middle just to make sure everything is straight on with the frame. Now this looks pretty good to me. I think this CTA button might look a little rough. So in order to make the edges kind of rounder, what we're going to do is go to corner radius. I still want it to be sharp, so let's say 5. So you can see the corners are actually just a little bit rounder, and I think that looks more like a button. Everything's clear, very simple, very minimalistic, like their brand. And so now we got to shift this hero block to our benefit highlight block. And so what I'm thinking is, let's go back to this template. Since we got an image, this one makes the most sense. So we're going to go with something like this. We're going to have the sub headline, the product, and then lines with the checks, and then the body copy like so. The first order of business is to make sure that this hero block and this benefit highlight block doesn't look like separate blocks. It's fine to do this, but ideally I stay away from it because I like my emails to be very easy to scroll and very nice on the eyes. To do that, we need to apply another gradient. So I'm going to create a rectangle. I'm just going to make this white because I assume this is white. Yep, it is. So let's add our gradient. Copy this, drag it up here, like we did on the top. Go back here to the gradient section, rotate it so it's the correct way. And what we're going to do is we're going to choose this color and then we're going to make it 0. But if it's 0, would it affect the picture? Yes, it would actually. If I demonstrate here, if we want to make it green, you see it's 0, but technically you still see the color. So you want to pick the right color first and then make it 0. We don't need to fade it all the way up, maybe just to his shoe area, make it look like he's walking on this cloud. So to me, I think that looks pretty good. Maybe we could drag this image so we can still add our table right here that's going to fit our thing. Let me just drag this down there as well. Bam. So this is going to be how you're actually using the design assets. In a sense, you could just duplicate this, drag it in there, and then you could just change the wording here, which would probably be easier. But assuming you don't have these, I just want to show you how to actually do it without those assets first, so that when you do have the assets, it's going to make your life so much easier. And so let's add our subheadline, one drink, multiple benefits. So we can drag this section up here, down. You're not going to see it because technically this is behind, so we could just bring to front. So copy one drink, multiple benefits. align it. And basically we have this image, which is creating a natural frame space right here, which is going to draw the eyes in. And so that's exactly where we're going to put our copy right here. We could just put the text on, but it's going to be a little boring. So we are going to do something like this. First thing we're going to do is add the text. This is a body copy text. So let's go with 20 body copy 1, and we'll just write it out like that. Make sure it is the right font. Bam. And then I'm going to create a very tiny rectangle. And then you can adjust the spacing. And then to create this check mark, we're going to create a circle. Just a very small circle. Make that black. And then we're going to zoom in even more. We're going to make the check marks with 2 rectangles. Bam. So it'll look something like this. And basically you can select these layers, group, and say benefit 1, and then you can copy that and just have it repeating. So something like that. And then now I'm going to put all this copy in here, and then we'll be right back. Bam, I just added in the copy and made some adjustments to the lines and the sizing, and I think this looks super duper awesome. I've also organized all the layers right here. Everything is named correctly and organized. And if we zoom out, this email is coming together very beautifully. Now we're going to move on to the next section, which is the product section. We got 3 products displayed vertically. Before we actually start, I'm going to go to their website and grab product images of these 3 products that we're going to use. So I just got these product images from their website. And if you're wondering why I'm grabbing their pictures and creatives from social media and website, and I should probably said this in the beginning, but I don't work for these guys. It would be really, really cool to work for them. But because I don't work for them, I don't have access to the creatives. And so we are scraping these off the face of the internet. Let's make a copy like this so that we can make our product images. First thing we're going to do is create a background. I think I'm going to go with a white background just so that this kind of flows down. The last thing I want is for the email to look like multiple blocks put together instead of one cohesive email. Rectangle, white background, bam. And then a designer's job is to make sure that the customers are having a consistent customer experience throughout every touch point. Ads is one touch point, for example. Their website's another touch point. For email, website's really important because customers are coming into the website, they're looking at what the website looks like, the designs and things like that, and then they're opting into the email list with a pop-up, and then afterwards you're sending them emails. And so you want the emails and the website to have a similar style and a very similar branding, because the last thing you want is to appear untrustworthy or lose your customers' trust because they're expecting your brand to show up a type of way because that's how you showed up on the website, but your emails look completely different. A designer's job or email marketer's job is to make sure that that doesn't happen, to make sure that you're creating that professional brand feel throughout and your customers are actually building trust with your brand. So this brand is very minimalistic, and so they have these black lines right here. They also have outlines, like rectangle outlines, kind of like this, and then an outline. And so I think that's what we're going to be doing to display this product right here. We're just going to stack these outlines like kind of like that, and then have the image on one side and then some copy on the other side. That's how we're gonna do it, and let's see how it turns out. So let me drag these bad boys back, let's delete this, and then add our headline first. Find your perfect hydration, sure it is straight. Let's add our outline right now. Yeah, I think that's good. Here, we're going to change this to white, and then this makes no difference, but I'm just going to make it opaque. And then in order to get the outline of the shape that you have selected, go over here to the right-hand side, and you're going to go to stroke, go to weight, and this basically changes how thick this line is. So let's try 5. Yep, too thick, so meet in the middle. Let's go with 3. Bam. Okay, so that looks good. This fits perfectly with the image, and then we can add some copy over here as well. Yeah, I think something's missing right here. Let's drag this back. I think having a divider would be good. Maybe something like that. Make sure that bad boy aligns. Cool. Yes, I think that looks a lot better, a lot cleaner, and very on brand. Let's add the other copy right now. So let's go with 24. And then let's make this a little smaller. That looks good to me. Make this medium. And then For every product section, you're going to want to have your own specific call to action button. That's because if someone likes this specific product, you don't want them to have to go into your actual main call to action button to your website and then have to find the product. Just to make the buying have less friction, you're going to want to have a specific product CTA button for each product that you have. And so we have 3 products. We're going to have 3 specific CTA buttons that links directly to each product. And we can copy the CTA button right here. Drag that bad boy all the way down. Make sure you drag this to the frame so it shows. Obviously that's a little too big. So what we're gonna do, just gonna make it a little smaller. Bam, and so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna organize this. Benefit copy, product 1, it's fine. And then CTA button 1. And then we're gonna organize all of this together. Group, benefit 1. Then what we're gonna do, extend this bad boy, extend this as well. Copy this whole thing, duplicate it like so. We want it to be on opposite sides because people's eyes go on a zigzag manner. Our eyes read like this. Just to make that simple, we're just gonna rotate it actually. Save us a lot more work. Select all these elements. And because it's group, we only need to select a few. We're just gonna rotate it. And then this is benefit 2. And benefit 1, we're just gonna copy that. Bring it back up here again. And now I am going to take all these different copies here and put it into these sections right here and replace it with the correct product picture. Bam. So I've just finished adding in all the copy as well as making some formatting changes and organizing all the layers right here to its respective place. And I'm not gonna lie, this is looking really, really nice, but we're not done just yet. We just have one last thing to do. That is adding in a general call to action button right here. And that's because what if your reader is not interested in any of these, but you've piqued enough interest for them to be like, you know what, let's go browse and see if there's something that we actually really want to buy. And that's why you have a general shop all button at the end. So I'm gonna click this right here and steal this right from our hero section. Perfect. Now our product section is complete. So we just have one last section to go. Before we start, I just want to say this is looking really, really nice. We got this email right here. It's flowing down nicely. This is kind of dragging your eyes further down the email. These boxes are very clean. Everything is on brand. We just have this footer section at the end. I like to say there are 2 types of people that view the footer section. One type sees it as the useless block that you just have to include for legal purposes, and to those guys, they're right, it is a useless block. But there's another group of people that view the footer block as their last ditch effort to get people to click onto their website, and to those guys, they're also right. And the difference is how you treat the footer block. If you do nothing with it and just put your links that you need to put in there, then sure, no one's gonna click. But what we like to do is create options that people can actually choose from and how they want to shop. The options of your footer is going to be specific to your brand. So let's say if you are Lululemon, maybe you have male or female, and that's how you're breaking up your footer block. This brand we're breaking up in terms of their product line. So they have sachets, which is like these little packets that you can just rip off on the go and get your electrolytes in. You have the drinks, which is in the form of the can, and they also have few bars. And so we're going to break it up, giving people the options to choose in terms of how they want to shop right here. Then we'll finish off with the social icons and then the legal things as well. So let's jump right into the footer block. First things first, we are going to create our background as always. We need to extend this email so that it's longer, and this is the last section, so we are almost there with our email. And in the footer block, obviously we need our social icons as well as our shop by categories. We're going to pick line, create a line across. And if you're like, oh, I want it to be straight, what you can do is just hit shift on your keyboard and it's going to force it to be straight. Perfect. Make sure it's 600. And then we're going to change this weight to kind of be consistent with this. So let's go with 3. Bam. Drag this down a little bit as well. Bam. And then let's repeat this because we have 3. Bam. Let's put in our text first. First one is going to be sachets. Spelled that completely wrong. Let's actually make this a little bigger. I think 36 is good. Make sure it's straight. Delete that bad boy. Drinks and few bars. Bam. So all of these are now aligned. Now it's a matter of aligning this. So I'm gonna get this rectangle right here. Just bring it all the way down like so. Bam, 26 right in the middle. Drag that down as well. Make sure is in order. Bam. And then this last one. Cool. So this is what it looks like. Let me pull up the social icons and put it in here and we'll have our email completed. So I got these social icons right here, which is the last piece to our email. And all I need to do is to just align it like so. Bam. And that is our email complete for Cadence. I think this email looks really good. Right here, it just looks clean right off the bat. It's very on brand as well, which is great because we want to give your customers a consistent customer journey and give your brand that professional feel. And so if we go through here, we have the logo block on top. We have the hero section right here, made with science, loved by athletes, your entire hydration system in a can. Shop now. Beautiful hero picture showing that there's people behind the brand. One drink, multiple benefits. Going back to the product itself with some product specific copy. And then find your perfect hydration formula. Makes you kind of curious. Okay, why is it? What's going to be my perfect hydration formula? And then you have the product display block showing them the different products that the brand offers. Finishing that off with a shop general CTA button in case they didn't see something that they like here, but we piqued their interest enough for them to actually browse. And then to make their shopping and buying, purchasing even easier, we give them abilities to shop by categories right here in the footer, and then finishing off, of course, with our social icons. That's basically the email. I think it looks really cool, really clean, but we're not done yet. Our email might be complete and it might look really good, but we still need to optimize it for deliverability and put it into Klaviyo. So you're basically going to optimize your email designs for deliverability by following a quick two-step process. The first step is going to be breaking your emails into smaller chunks or smaller slices, as we call them. And the reason we do that is because we want to minimize the image file size, because the smaller the image file size, the easier it is to actually send it through email providers and easier for the images to actually load, and thus improving your deliverability. And we do that by breaking the emails into smaller sections or slices, and then as well as compressing them afterwards before we actually upload them into Klaviyo. The way we break your emails up into smaller sections or smaller slices is by zooming into your email and then going down here, and we're going to click the slice tool right here. You could also hit S on your keyboard. This logo section, usually this is how I do it. This logo section is one slice. The hero section is another slice. This hero section is kind of long, and so I'm actually going to break this up into smaller slices. And basically I'm just dragging it to fit size, and then I'm Command C and Command V to copy and paste the slices and just dragging them down. This is fine to be one slice. And then right here is our product block. And our product block is actually kind of unique because basically the rule for these slices is not only do we want to make your email smaller, but the slices can only contain one specific call to action. So for example, this call to action is going to be linked to this specific product. In order for this whole section to be linked to this product, then we need to have a separate section for this product, so that when people click this section, then they're taken not to core 500, but to race 500. The general rule of thumb is one slice per one CTA. And so these are all individual CTAs, so we need to have individual slices for each of these. And then this is a shop all. I'll change that to shop all later. These are also part of our footer, shop by categories, and so these are all different as well. So this is going to maintain its own slicing, and we just need to make sure that our slices are actually aligned. There we go. Here's a little tricky because all these social icons are different links, right? So all of these social icons needs to be different slices. So we got Instagram and YouTube right there on the side. We need one for Facebook, one for X, Pinterest, and TikTok. That's our email sliced up. That looks pretty good. All the slices are kind of aligned. I'm just going to go back right here to the product section and change this to shop all. Bam. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select all of our slices, and then we're going to hit export right here on the right side. I'd like to export on 2x JPEG, and then we're going to click export 17 layers, and that's going to basically export it to your desktop. Bam, all my slices just exported into my desktop folder. Basically what we're going to do now is move on to step 2, where we take those individual slices that we already have and we're going to compress them even further with a free tool. This is one of the websites that I like to use to compress my emails. It's called tinypng.com. Basically you can just drop all your images here and it'll start compressing them. So I just put in all my images. All of our slices are being compressed very nicely, and it's just making your images that much better for deliverability. So we're going to download all images right here. It's going to go into our download right here in a zip file. And now this zip file is going to contain our slices, but compressed. And this is going to be what we're using when we're uploading it into Klaviyo itself. So now that you have all your compressed slices ready to upload into Klaviyo, all you got to do is go into Klaviyo and go into the email drag and drop section. You could go into flow or campaigns, whatever you choose. Name your email, write your subject line, write your preview text, and you're going to be able to input your email right here. Basically, you're going to go ahead and delete every single thing here, and you are going to put in a bunch of image blocks like this. You can choose to include these social icon sections, and you could just make this fit your brand if you want to do that. For this brand, it makes sense to do that because then we don't need to individually put all of these in, but I will show you how to do it. But you can do it this way as well. But first things first, getting our email into here, we pick an image block and we're just going to select our image and upload our picture. So over here, we can select that picture, and then basically we're just going to duplicate this a bunch of times. Then we're going to replace this image, go to upload image, and add in our next slice, and we're just going to keep doing that over and over again. So I just inputted all of our slices into Klaviyo, and this is what our email looks like, exactly how we designed it on Figma. And since we also optimized it for mobile, you can see that mobile also looks really good. And so this is what our email looks like so far. And you can use the social links right here within Klaviyo's built-in features to add your social link. But I know some brands are going to want to have their custom social icons. And so we can also do that. And I'll show you exactly how to do that. Basically, you're going to choose a table. What you're going to do is go to styles, add however many columns you want. So I forgot how many columns we have, but I think it is 6. And then you're going to go down all the way here to block padding, because as you can see here, there's some padding right here, which we want to get rid of. We're just going to make that 0. And then we're also going to make this 0 as well on the side. We're going to go into each individual section and we're going to change it to an image. Like so. Now we can do exactly the same thing and upload our social icons in the order that we did it. So I just put all the slices for our social icons in, and now our email is looking really good and complete. And the last thing that we need to do is to actually just input our link addresses into each of our slices right here. So our logo section would be our normal brand's website. So use cadence.com, and then this slice is just a general to your website as well, so usecadence.com. This link for this picture would also be usecadence.com because it would be the same as this one. You could even put again usecadence.com, and then these are going to be specific link addresses to this specific product. So this would be a link directly to Core 500, this one Race 500, this one Recovery Sleep, this one we would go back to usecadence.com, and then this one would be linked to sachets, drinks, few bars, and then social icons. Then the last thing you would need to worry about would be alt text. Alt text or actual text that shows up when your images don't load. So your images might not load for 2 reasons. One is the images is just way too big, that's why we compress them ahead of time, and 2, some email providers actually just block people from sending images. In my opinion, that's very rare, and so I wouldn't worry about that as much. But if you want to play things on the safer bet for your alt text, you would just add your copy. So over here you would just say made with science, love by athletes, your entire hydration system in a can, basically. And then you would just repeat that with all the slices that actually have some text. And that's basically your email done. The last thing you need to do is come over here, hit preview, and send yourself a test email. See if the email actually loads correctly, looks correctly, and all the links are correctly labeled. And then you are good to go. And bam, that's how you design beautiful, high converting emails using Figma. I hope you got some value for your time. And if you're serious about scaling your e-com brand with email, check out the email design masterclass in the description. It's got design templates ready for you to use, AI prompts that's going to help you design faster, and everything you need to know to create winning email designs for your e-com brand. It took me over 100+ hours to make, and although I don't usually do this, but it is 100% free. No catch. Check it out for yourself. But as always, I'm rooting for you. Always take action. Peace.